Hi everyone, today I'm finally doing a sketchbook tour for the sketchbook that I worked on from 2024 until 2025. If you don't know me, I am Femke, I'm an artist, and I post about my sketchbook drawings and paintings on TikTok and Instagram. Today we're gonna go into every single page that is in this sketchbook. I filled it up pretty much all the way. There are a few pages that are blank or just bled through from the other side. Yeah, just a little disclaimer. I didn't really treat this sketchbook as a book that I can sketch in freely. I was very perfectionist when it came to this sketchbook. I wouldn't really let myself just sketch without a plan. So everything is very planned and structured in this sketchbook, which isn't something I per se recommend. I think you should also sketch freely and just practice different things that you maybe see around you and not really care about the outcome all the time. So that's something I want to work on for my next sketchbook for sure. But yeah, let's get into it. So this is the sketchbook that I've used. It is from Moleskine. I painted the cover with acrylic markers and the back is just plain black. You can see the logo here. Pages are 160 GSM, which is perfect for sketching with pencil, but also with markers. And I've even used gouache in it before, so it can really handle a lot. So once I open it, I just see my name, and then this page I did on the airplane. I just got the sketchbook and I love bringing sketchbooks to vacation because I always feel so much more inspired. And yeah, it's just fun also to kill the time on the road. So I drew these eyes on the plane, and then this is what I drew on the actual trip. So we were in Italy and I drew the view with some lemons and then a portrait of this girl. I really like how bright the hair is. Then I drew this portrait with alcohol marker and pencil. The glasses I drew with glitter markers, so it's really sparkly. I drew this on the way back home, so another airplane sketch. Then we have this spread. I was just experimenting with some new markers that I got. These are Dahimi alcohol markers and I had never used them before, so I wanted to make a nice drawing just using those markers. I also drew this Porsche on the right side of the spread, so I thought they would go quite well together. And then I just kind of decorated it. I really like how this fish looks. It almost looks like it's really shining. So yeah, I definitely want to draw more cars. Then this spread I mostly drew on the train, so I drew this side on the train as you can tell, and I just drew my view basically with ballpoint pen and some colored pencil. And then this tiger I drew on the train as well. I made a video about it and I got a lot of comments saying it looks like the Mr. Beast logo, which was not my intention. But yeah, also with ballpoint pen. And then this one I drew on an orange piece of paper, which I think is a really nice effect. Overall, I quite like this spread. Then this one I drew on a picnic with my friend Merlijn. We used strawberries and blueberries to make the pigment for these flowers. And then I just drew this green tea bottle because I love the way they look. This is more of a page where I experimented with different materials. Here I used some crayons and here I used some acrylic markers. You can really tell how much coverage they have from how they covered the yellow page underneath, which is pretty cool. And they also had like a golden color in it that had a little shimmer, so I wanted to see what that would look like on the fish. And then I really don't like the way that this turned out. I think the blue looks more like a green and it really doesn't go well with the purple and the orange, so I'm not really a fan of that. Then I made this spread, really like a summer feeling with the shell and the lip balm and the jam. And this is a drawing of Matilda Jerv. I really like how these blueberries came out, by the way. Then I experimented with acrylic markers here and I drew some mushrooms. I think it didn't quite turn out how I wanted, but it was still really fun to work with. I always enjoy working with acrylic markers. And this is a page that I made about the trip that I was on when I started this sketchbook. So I went to Lake Como with some friends, and yeah, this is more of like a journal / drawing page. I got some cards and some ferry tickets, I think. Oh no, this was a ticket to the castle that we visited. And I think this is just a really nice way to keep some memories and also to look back at some of your favorite memories when you just flip through the sketchbook. Then this drawing I drew together with a friend of mine. She had these really cool pastel crayons, oil crayons. I don't really know what they're called, but I love the color of them. So I used them here. And then I drew this flower on the way when I was on the train with a ballpoint. Here is this really fruity spread. I really like how this turned out. Love the colors, the composition. Makes me very happy and excited for summer when I look at it. Here I got into drawing more like characters, Batman with acrylic marker and Spider-Man with alcohol marker. This Spider-Man I also drew on an airplane. It really sounds like I'm flying a lot, but I just really like to draw, especially when I'm traveling. This was really fun to do. I really liked the way it turned out. I was doubting if I should add a red background, but I didn't bring a lot of colors with me, so I went for it anyway, and I think it came out fine. Then this spread, I love the left side, not so much the right side, but I think the lip oil came out so well. I love the way that her skin turned out. It looks super glowy and colorful. And yeah, I had a vision for this side, but I think the orange and purple don't really go well together. And I wish I just did her skin color in a regular color. Here's a drawing I did to promote these glasses. I think it was pretty fun to do, and I liked how I just added these glasses onto the reference, but I didn't finish the rest of the page. Then I did this pencil drawing of Jenny. I just used, I think, 2 colored pencils for it and a white gel pen. I quite like how this turned out and how the portrait is just monochrome. I feel like with colored pencil you can get pretty detailed, so I definitely want to do this more. Here's a spread that I did. Quite like this for reference. I feel like a lot of artists have drawn this, but I wanted to combine like purple with yellow and orange, so that's how that came together in this drawing. I don't really like how this tiger is not centered on the page, but sometimes just happens that way, and yeah, I don't know, I think it just looks a little bit off. This is one of my favorite spreads that I've done. This side I drew with only Ohuhu markers, those are alcohol markers, and this side I drew on top of this pink piece of paper. I think just the composition looks great, and I always love the combination of blue and pink, just one of my favorite colors together. And then of course on the next page it's completely bled through. Here I drew something from my imagination, but I didn't like it, so I just drew something on this side. This is an Arcane spread. I think this is super cool. I love how I combined all of the colors and the characters together. Here I tried to draw Jinx in my own style. This show is amazing, by the way, if you haven't watched it. Here I tried stippling for the first time, and this was not so much fun. I love the way it looks, but I hate doing it, like the stippling movement. So yeah, you just have to be really patient and repeat the same movement over and over. But yeah, I really like how this spread looks anyway, so I'll probably do it again. This is another spread, more like a winter vibe. I love this hair color that I gave her. This is a reference of Vidya, and yeah, I just really like the colors here. And then here I think the fur looks so fluffy, so I'm really happy about this spread. Another winter spread. I used acrylic markers on this side, and here I used alcohol marker and colored pencil. I used this drawing for a tutorial on how to color, on how to color skin, I think. You can find that on my TikTok and Instagram. Here I tried stippling again, but I wasn't very patient. I think I did this on the train, so I was very rushed. And then this one I did like an inverted style drawing. I quite like the way it looks with the bright colors. I love this color blue, and I love the perspective of her head. Here I drew this swan with ballpoint pen. I love drawing swans and birds, so I should definitely do that more. And then this drawing with alcohol marker. You can see that this marker bled through because I stick some paper on the other side, and I like to do that a lot so that I can really use both sides of the page. On this page I drew SZA. I love her music so much, and I wanted to draw something for her new album that came out. I really like the insects that I made with acrylic markers. This drawing I don't really like. I kind of gave up on it, but I do really like the combination of the pink and the purple, so maybe I should do that more. Here I worked with some highlighters. I wanted to just kind of see how that would look, and I think it looks pretty cool. It was quite hard to make the areas look very even with the marker, but I think I managed in the end. Then I made sort of like a tea-themed spread with this matcha and all of these teas that I got to try at the tea house in Amsterdam. This spread is one of my favorite spreads, I think. I really love this color combination with the light blue on the eyes, and I think the drawing turned out so well. Her skin looks really good, her hair looks good, the proportions look good. I'm just very happy about it. And then this drawing, a lot of people ask me sometimes, where do you get your references from? But a lot of the times I like to combine different pictures together. Yeah, I also really like the disco cherry. Here I have an unfinished spread. I was working with acrylic markers and I just didn't really feel inspired to continue. Just drawing another swan here. This is a really fun spread that I did together with Maaike. She drew this, she drew everything that's orange and I drew the blue portrait, and then in her sketchbook we did the other way around, so I also made a drawing in hers. And then I was trying some new acrylic markers on this side. These are the Ohuhu acrylic markers. So here I worked with a lot of post-its again. I love doing sort of like mixed media and combining colored paper with sketching on top of it. So I did stippling here for this angel and I really love how this came out. I think it's super cute. And then here I worked with ballpoint. So I think this is a really nice spread. Then here I did more of like traditional with colored pencil, two portraits of the same girl, and I think her name is Alice. She's a model. I really like the colors here. I think I could have added a little bit more contrast with a darker blue. And then yeah, I just really like this orange here as well. Here I made two portraits of Scarlett Johansson and Jeff Goldblum for a collaboration they made a song together that I was asked to promote, so I thought this would be really cute to draw them. And here I worked with acrylic markers. I really like this spread. I'm also going to make a print for this, so if you're interested, keep an eye on my Etsy. But yeah, these pigeons are so cute, I think. And then here I drew a bunch of fruits with some new acrylic markers that I got. They are from ArtX, and I also used some glitter markers, but I don't know if you can tell. Yeah, here you can see a little bit. So pretty nice and colorful spread. Here I tested out the Ohuhu colored pencils. I'd never used them before, and I think they look really good. I think the colors are super nice. They blended pretty well, so I'm very happy about this. And then here I was just trying some different things with using a highlighter as a background for the drawing, but I really preferred the way that these look. Here I have two portraits of Ariana Grande and Tate McRae. Yeah, here I wanted to challenge myself to draw like a see-through fabric. That's what I loved about this reference picture, but it was quite difficult, but I quite like the way I drew it with the blue coming through and just the different colors together. And then I'm not a huge fan of this drawing for some reason. I used a orange piece of paper, and then I used acrylic marker to make the background blue. Maybe I think I should have kept it orange, I'm not sure, but I'm just not completely happy about this. Here I was going to make a spread for the show Severance, and I managed to finish one side, but then I kind of never did the other side. So here I drew Mark, and yeah, I kind of like this concept. Of course, this is a super well-known image of the show with his head cut off halfway and then him sitting in the office, but I just added like the background and the numbers, and I really wanted to make his face a bit colorful in some way, so I added like blue shadows and some purple in the face, and I think I quite like this effect. And then here I wanted to draw more characters, but I never got around to do it. Here I drew Florence Pugh. I really didn't like I really don't like how it turned out. I think it looks way too colorful and the proportions look weird, so I never really came back to the spread. Here I drew Jeremy Allen White, and then here I made a series of self-portraits where you can see that I'm turning my head, but I also kind of rushed this, so some of them look a little bit weird. But I think my favorite is this one with the star. Here I drew Britney Spears. I love Britney, so I wanted to put her on paper in my sketchbook. And then this spread I did with the Stabilo colored pencils that I tested, and I quite like how I combined like different portraits in different colors. And then this portrait I did with alcohol marker. I really like how his hair had cheetah print, so I definitely wanted to include that. Here I was drawing some memories from another vacation I'd had in Italy. So I drew the Aperol Spritz, I drew cappuccino, pistachio croissant, and this is all with acrylic marker. Then I have this colorful spread. This is a portrait of Bella Hadid, and this is Jenny. And for this one I only used alcohol marker, which can be a challenge sometimes because it's easy to fill up like large areas, but sometimes to make the details in the face can be difficult if you want to be really precise. Here I just used alcohol marker and colored pencil. I love using a white colored pencil on top of colored paper because it always makes the highlights pop so much. Here I stuck a piece of paper on to cover the bled through marker of this side, and I wanted to do really colorful portrait again, but for some reason I just don't really like it, but it was a good practice. I do really like this kind of inverted themed page on the right side. I also did all of that with alcohol marker. Here I did a challenge with my friend Merlijn. We went to a cafe and we had like 1 hour to draw each other without showing the other person. So it was quite difficult to do some live sketching, and I don't think it looks that much like her, but it was really fun to do and it was a really good practice. This is one of the last pages already, and I really love this page. I used Post-its again, and I used just a few colored pencils. So on this side I used blue colored pencils, and on this side purple. And yeah, I think these look really awesome. Oh, that was the last page actually. So yeah, here I tested some colors, and here as well. And then this is a note from the creative director of Mont Blanc that I met. I asked him to doodle something in my sketchbook, but he wanted to write something instead. So that's a very nice memory that I get to keep in a sketchbook. If you have any questions about my sketchbook, let me know. I already started a new one, so stay tuned for more videos about that. And thank you so much for watching.